My dentist asked me out. I'm not sure what to do. I went to the grocery store over the weekend and saw my dentist, which was a little weird, but she recognized me and came up and said hi. We had a little chat, and it was nice because human contact is so non-existent nowadays. Then she said she had to go and asked for my number. I figured that she needed it for dentistry reasons, if I'm being honest, but I probably should have figured that it wasn't for that. Anyway, after I got home, she started texting me just with casual stuff. Eventually, we talked about how I'd never read Harry Potter or seen the movies, and she said, "We could grab some food and I'll watch them with you." Followed by, "If you want," about 5 minutes later. I haven't responded, and it's been 30 minutes. If she wasn't my dentist, it would have been an absolute yes. She's hot, and she's fun to talk to. I know that we share a couple hobbies too, which is always nice. On the other hand, I'm 90% sure they aren't supposed to ask their patients out. I always thought that she was being a little flirty sometimes, but like I said, I don't think they're supposed to do that, so I never took it as flirting. So I guess what I'm asking here is, what the hell do I do? I don't want to cause problems with her career, but also I'd really like to date her a lot. In the comments, Reddit Toastbot says, "It's easy to find another dentist, but it's hard to find a good wife." Also, it's noteworthy to mention how up close she's been with him. She already has an intimate relationship with his mouth and still had the balls to ask him out at the supermarket. Bravo, madame. From the American Dental Association Code of Ethics, 2G, Personal Relationships with Patients. Dentists should avoid interpersonal relationships that could impair their professional judgment or risk the possibility of exploiting the confidence placed in them by a patient. She could lose her license for becoming sexually involved with an active patient. To avoid jeopardizing her license, have her write a formal letter discharging you as a patient, and then establish a dentist-patient relationship with someone else, and have her send copies of your dental records to the new dentist before going further. OP, do this, even if it might not work out. She took a huge risk here professionally. There's a million other dentists out there. Back up to the post, edit. Alright, geez, I'll say yes. Edit 2. We're gonna watch Harry Potter on Friday. Just need to decide what kind of food to order. Thank you for pushing me to say yes. I honestly probably would have turned her down. That's awesome, OP. And a bit of a wild story, huh? And yeah, honestly, as long as she ends that dentist-patient relationship thing before anything romantic happens with you guys, I'm gonna assume that you guys are fine. It's not like this is some weird, shady situation, because it's clear that she likes you and you like her, like you've said. Just make sure that you guys protect her career first, and then go and enjoy that Harry Potter night, you know? You've lucked into the most unexpected meet cute ever, have you not? This is insane. And now, onto the update 3 days later. So, the update that the two people asked for, we got together, had some food, and watched Harry Potter. That's about it, to be honest. In all seriousness, we hit it off pretty quickly. I kind of feel like we were already friends anyway. We usually talk a lot during appointments while she gets all the tools ready and such, so I know a little bit about her already, but not being in that setting made it easier to talk to her for sure. Also confessed to a bunch of stuff, found out that she's had a crush on me since my first appointment 2 years ago, and she was trying to figure out how to ask me out for a while. Also got to hear about how she purposely would try to get a light schedule when I was coming in so that she could go slower and we'd have more time to talk, which I think is the cutest thing I've ever heard. A girl actually wanted to spend more time with me on purpose. Another thing, I thought that there was 3 Harry Potter movies, not hundreds, but we got through 2 of them and have another date set up for tomorrow, so I'm not complaining. Also, I did have to take all the tests, so in case you're interested, Ravenclaw. And I have a wood mouse Patronus. She seemed happy with that. I don't know why, but she's in Ravenclaw too, so I'm sure that has something to do with it. And lastly, the entire reason why I made my last post. I talked to her about it, and I do need to get a new dentist, which kinda sucks, but it's understandable and worth it. It's not like I'll be missing her or anything because I can just talk to her whenever now. Unfortunately, until all the dentist swapping is dealt with, we are just friends. But we both made it clear that we want it to be something more than that when we can. This might be too much information for some of you, but if I didn't include it, someone would ask. So no, we didn't have sex, and no puns about oral were made. We were making out, and she stopped it. She said she felt uncomfortable doing anything with someone that was still a patient, so we just cuddled up and watched the movies instead, and I drove her home afterwards. Honestly, I wouldn't have it any other way. It was probably the best first date that I've ever had. In the comments, Got Me Wrong Gang says, "So wholesome, I love it. Also, I hope you flossed before the date." And OP says, "Of course. And I hid all the floss that she's been giving me at appointments too, so she doesn't know that I don't use it." She's your dentist, man. She knows. Is this what it's like when you actually floss? Maybe I should try it. I remember my dentist's reaction when he asked me to start flossing and I went to my follow-up. They were like, "Okay, now let's see." Oh, wow. You've actually been flossing. I have to say, they don't recommend it for the fun of it. My teeth feel amazing when I do it regularly. Okay, so the dentist intentionally kept her schedule light when OP had an appointment. How much do we want to bet that all the hygienists, nurses, and receptionists in that office knew exactly what was going on, and when they processed the paperwork transferring OP to another dentist, they were all gossiping about what it meant? Yeah, I bet they all knew that. That's so good. It's worth it. But there definitely was a little bit of gossip going around being like, why is he transferring after 2 years, huh? Oh, no one else keeps a light schedule like that. Oh, bit weird, don't you think? Overall, very cute. Exceptionally cute story. Thank you for this one, OP. Think we all needed it. I think I'm a boring old Gryffindor myself, but if I could choose, I'm going to go into Hufflepuff. They are underrepresented. They need some more support in that one. I don't even know what the hell Hufflepuff does, guys. I just want to support them because they feel left out. Our next post is by a deleted account, and it's titled, "Am I overreacting about an incident that happened to my daughter at school?" My daughter just started middle school last week. Yesterday, a boy put pencil lead into her water bottle straw, and she didn't notice. When she went to drink from it, another girl spoke up and said, "Don't drink that. Peter put something in it." My daughter looked inside and saw the pencil lead in her water. The boys were laughing at her, including the one that put it in there. My daughter told the teacher, and the teacher yelled at the kid, and that was it. The boy asked if she was going to tell his parents, and she said no, it's not that big of a deal. I was pissed because pencil lead and the soft tissue of someone's throat could have been an issue. A serious medical issue? Probably not, but it's contaminating someone's water. I wrote to the school asking if they could check in on the incident, given that it's an actual crime to mess with someone's food or water. At the very least, there should be an incident report about it so that the boy's parents get notified. I would want to be notified if my kid did something like that. This is where more rage comes in. The counselor met with my daughter and wrote me an email. In this email, she stated that she met with my daughter and she let my daughter know that she didn't need to tell the teacher and could have just told the boy directly that she didn't like that and to not do it again. She then goes on to explain to my daughter that the boy probably had a crush on her, and sometimes boys do that when they like her. She then went on to say that she told my daughter to make sure that she doesn't leave her water unattended and to maybe put a cap on the straw, as if she should carry that shit around and that it's her fault that this fucker put shit in her water. I'm so pissed about this. I wrote her back, saying that I felt like the school was stating contaminating someone's food or water is not a big deal, blaming my daughter for not watching her water bottle 24/7, even when somewhere else in the classroom, and then saying boys will be boys because they like her. What the actual F? Am I overreacting? My husband is a teacher in the district and says he also thinks it's weird how they're handling this, but he's used to elementary school standards. I'm looking for honest replies. In the comments, Idiocratic Candidate says, "Not overreacting." I don't know how that counselor managed to get her job. She clearly isn't bright because she stated all of this in an email? I'd forward that email straight to the school board to escalate the situation. OP says, I could not believe I have this in writing. Fan 2001, downvoted, says, pencils don't contain lead. It's non-toxic. Yes, it was a dick move by this guy, and the counselor gave atrocious advice, but you are overreacting if you think pencil shavings are an actual health hazard. A deleted commenter replies to them, no, she is not overreacting. Messing with someone's drink, and more importantly, bullying, is never okay. There should be consequences to this shit. I don't care if a boy likes my daughter, it's total bullshit that the school staff is minimizing this behavior and not doing the right thing. For OP, after you talk to the school staff, also send an email so you have everything in writing. Escalate to the principal, and after that, submit an HIB complaint, and after that, if nothing happens, talk to the superintendent. This is pure BS. OP replies, everything is in writing except the conversation that she had with my daughter at school, and her version of that described to me in email is awful. I'd be sending an email to ask what corrective action that counselor had during the boys' meeting. They talked to your daughter and gave her all of these bits of actionable advice, so what was he told and what were his parents told? I'd escalate this to a meeting about victim shaming and accountability. This is in the what were you wearing when he SA'd you category. What was the fucking boy who contaminated someone's drinking water told to change about his behavior? Honestly, the incident is less worrying than the response of the adults whose job is teaching and also keeping these children safe. OP replies, get this. They never even asked who the boy was, and after telling my daughter she handle her own problems, then asked her if she wanted to name him, so she didn't. Honestly, I can't wait to be a parent to deal with a situation like this so I can fly off the handle at the school and have righteous fury towards them, because I feel like I see it too often. And in a way, maybe that is my bias. A little bit of bias coming in there. I'm seeing what I want to see. I'm not seeing the full picture, but who cares? I'm allowed to be a bit delulu. OP's not overreacting here. This is a complete and total failure of basic responsibility by all of the adults involved. That kid tampered with the daughter's drink. I don't care what someone's saying, oh, you're overreacting. It's actually not toxic. Shut up, dickhead. So would you also say that just because roofies aren't toxic and don't kill someone that, you're not overreacting when someone puts shit in your drink? This is a boundary violation. It's not a harmless prank. It should be taken seriously. Counselor's response was insane. This is the real problem here. Completely unacceptable. Telling her that he's doing it just because he likes her? Let's just excuse harassment, hey? Yeah, thanks, dickhead. Definitely escalate this one as high as you can. Principal, district, school board, who cares? It's not about this one incident. How many other people have had their harassment excused and swept under the rug as a result of this asshole counselor, quote unquote, if they can even call themselves that? You gotta protect your daughter and you gotta make sure that school is not normalizing this kind of behavior. Hell nah. And now, onto update 1. So I just got my daughter's side of the story for how the conversation went down, and it's even worse than how the lady described in the email, which was already bad. This lady gets my daughter out of class and sits her down. Mind you, I asked for a report to be filed, and they were supposed to be talking to her just to get my daughter's account of what happened. So my daughter says that the lady sat her down and asked her to tell her what happened. My daughter explained what happened, and this lady then tells her that this issue is a 1 out of 10 in terms of severity. She said if something is a 1 to 5, you know what you should do? Handle it yourself, and this being a 1 means you shouldn't have told a teacher, and instead, you should have just tried to work it out on your own. My daughter asked her, well then, what's a 6 to 10? The lady says, something serious like cutting your arm off. Oh my god, if I heard my daughter say this to me, it would send me into a fit of rage. My daughter was effing shocked. I think that this is the first time she's ever been acutely aware of an adult being so in the wrong. My daughter confirmed this lady said the boy probably had a crush on her and that's why he probably did it, along with the "make sure you watch your water bottle, don't be leaving it around" bullshit. I am so effing pissed off. If she would have just listened, reported it, contacted the boy's parents, and made sure that it was clear he can never do this again, that would have been the end of it. Now I find this counselor to be just as big, or a bigger issue than the incident in and of itself. I'm so mad that I'm sick to my stomach. Update 2. So I slept on it and wrote an email to the principal, counselor, and some other lady that they had tagged if I wanted to report the actual incident after telling me and my daughter to let it go. By the way, the principal was on all the email threads already. I factually described what happened, what was said in email, quoting email from counselor, what was said to my daughter, and simply asked if everyone at the school is in agreement with how this incident was handled and the messaging that was said. I referenced the harm of messaging to girls that boys hurt you because they like you, that everyone had mentioned, and also asked if they support what was said to my daughter. I said whether they support this response or disagree with what was done, I would like that conclusion in writing. I am giving them one last opportunity to correct this before deciding what to do next. Update 3. To clarify, these were mechanical pencil sticks that can puncture skin or soft tissue, not a little piece of dull lead from the tip of a pencil. Also, I'm aware that it's not actually lead and just called that. My concern was puncturing the tissue, not poison. Also, I got a call from a woman at the school who was actually in charge of writing up the incidents, and she 100% acknowledged that this should have been reported and handled as a more serious issue. I can't tell you how much better it felt simply hearing someone acknowledge the problem. She isn't in charge of the counselor and said she saw my email though, and is curious to see how they respond. I'm still waiting to hear the response. I'll figure out the next steps from there. After asking some other people I know in the area that are teachers that were shocked with the response, I'm expecting some kind of apology to come through. But we will see. Final update, 1 week later. So my post got locked for some reason, but I have a final update. 1. There was a discussion among the staff, and they found big differences in opinions from the counselor and others, and it was decided to in fact create an incident for this. Others found tampering with another kid's food or drink a major issue. 2. They called the kid down to the office and called his mother. His mother was apparently horrified, apologized, and agreed to the punishment/action that the school decided on. I'm not aware of what it is, but I was fine that it was reported and addressed. 3. The principal met with me and was very apologetic and acknowledged the response from the counselor was wrong. He asked me to come down and chat with the counselor and himself. I agreed. I sat down with the principal and counselor, and it went down like this. 1. I reiterated my offense about her bringing romantic feelings or motivations into the conversation and associating/justifying the behavior with harmful actions. I used a lot of your comments to help support how telling girls this is how boys behave when they like can lead to women gravitating towards harmful and abusive relationships. Mind you, when I'm telling her this, her face is like surprised Pikachu turned scowl. I hate her. I told her that clearly by your face, I can see we have disagreement here. Do you understand where I'm coming from at all? She kept saying things like, well, I don't know what your daughter said, or I don't know what your daughter's takeaway is. And multiple times, I had to reference the fact that I had, in writing, from her, what she said she said. The almost hilarious part about this is that the principal kept backing me up, saying, yeah, I read that part of the email too. It was in there, ... She tried directing blame or confusion on my daughter multiple times, but you better believe I had that email pulled up on my phone, ready to reference it each time. She even said, I'm a feminist. To which I said, I don't know what your personal beliefs or stances are, but somehow they got extremely disconnected or reflected. In your words, that were a net negative outcome for my daughter's mental health. I would not let the conversation go or her deflect blame until I 100% got her to acknowledge this. I was incredibly patient and calm because, to be honest, my goal wasn't to fire anyone. I genuinely wanted to come to a better understanding so that she approached these situations differently. I also asked that she create training and supportive documentation around how to handle these situations that is both transparent to the staff and the kids, since there seems to be massive gaps in understanding that can have serious consequences. Anyway, picked up my kid, she was all smiles as we talked about it, and I role-played my side of the convo versus the counselors. We got boba while talking about how she's going to vet the loves of her life. She even said, if boys like you, they should say something nice or just tell you. Wouldn't it be nice, huh? We then went to list on all the ways that we thought that it would be nice to have someone show they like you. I'll take things that aren't happening in 2025 for $200. Thank you very much. In the comments, Coco Almonds Rock says, great outcome. I can't believe that counselor was so obtuse. Her email was way more horrific than the original incident. Yeah, the incident is something that's handled with a reprimand and talking with sympathetic parents. Kids do stuff all the time because they don't fully think things through, but that counselor? Damn. What did she say? The incident was a 1 out of 10 on the severity scale? Well, her response was like 64 out of 10 on the I'm gonna get you fired in a heartbeat scale. Telling any child that another child is bullying them because they have a crush is so fucking dangerous. This is how people end up in abusive relationships with no meter for what is actually healthy and what is a cause for concern. I'm so glad she didn't just let it go. Who knows what other kids would be told after bullying incidents? Can you imagine that counselor working with adults? I would say putting roofies in your drink, a guy putting roofies in your drink, that's a 4. So, it's something that you handle yourself and just don't involve the authorities. Look, the lesson that you should learn from this is to keep an eye on your drink. Maybe put a cover on it. He probably did it because he has a crush on you, and that's just how boys are. The fact that I had to change very little to make this work tells me that she should not be working in this field. It's not real. Keep telling yourself it's not real. They would never say something like that to an adult, okay? They are not that person in your past that is also given terrible advice like that. That hypothetical situation in that comment is not real. Trust me. I applaud OP for not wanting to get her fired, but I have too much hate in my heart. I would want her fired for that. I would be, causing a scene for sure, and I don't think it would end in her getting fired, but I want to send a message, I'm like a dog chasing cars. I don't know what I want. But regardless, this was exactly how OP should have handled it. She was calm, she was firm, and she was completely unwilling to let those assholes, or that stupid counselor, deflect or minimize what happened. You turned what could have been another sweep it under the rug kind of situation into something real, a real learning experience for both your daughter and, hopefully, the school. I do hope that they change as a result of this. I love how you modeled how to stand up for yourself while staying composed. If your daughter was there to see the entire process of that, she has learned so much more than anything that goddamn counselor could ever do. You showed her that strength and softness can coexist, that she can speak up, that she can demand respect and still keep her joy. Thank you for being a model parent, OP. I love to see it and I hope everyone else does. Thank you for the story and thank you for the update. Anyway, guys, that's where I'm going to end today's episode. I do hope you enjoyed. If you did, let me know what you thought of it in the comments down below, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!